Hey there, this is Sid and I'm back with another SQL problem from StrataScratch. The title of the problem is Share of Active Users. It's listed as a medium difficulty problem in StrataScratch and the ID is 2005. So as always, I shall start with the input table. I have copied this input table over to an Excel file. Once we have understood what the input table looks like, I shall quickly revisit this StrataScratch window to have a look at the problem statement and then we shall try to solve the problem. So here is the input table. The input table has 4 columns: user ID, name, status, and country. This is basically a listing of users of a certain social portal, I guess, and they belong to different countries and they have different status. So now going back to the problem, it says that output the share of US users that are active. And the definition of active user is active users are the ones with an open status in the table. So this looks like a very straightforward problem to solve. The first thing that we have to do is filter for the country, USA. So how many rows do we have? We have 6 rows. So that is our total user count for USA. Now let us filter for the status. To find out the active users, we have to select open. So how many users do we now have? We have 3 users now. So what is the fraction of US users who are active? That would be 3 divided by 6. That is 50% or 0.5. So that's the problem. Now let us try to solve this problem using SQL. So now that we know how to solve the problem in Excel, let us try to solve this in SQL. We have the SQL query here in Notepad++ because it is much easier to view it on the Notepad++ window. So I have created 2 cities. One is US active user city and the other is US total user city. The US active user city is simply the count of distinct user IDs from the input table where the country is USA and the status is open. Similarly, the US total user city is a count of distinct user IDs where the country is USA but there is no additional filter for status. So if you run this query alone, you would get 3. If you run this query alone, you would get 6. So all that is now left to do is divide 3 by 6 to arrive at the 0.5. And that is done using this SQL query. So this is an old-fashioned cross join that we have used here. I'm not sure if this is the most elegant way to do, but this sort of works. So I think we are good. So what it basically does is it takes the left table as US active users and the right table as US total users. So in the from clause, if you simply write one table, then a comma, then the second table, what SQL does is it generates a Cartesian product between those two tables. So for example, if the first table, that is our left table, has 5 rows and the right table has 6 rows, then the total number of rows in the output table will be 5 times 6, that is 30. It cross joins every single row of the left table with all the rows of the right table. But in this case, it really does not matter because our left table has only one row and the right table also has only one row. So all I have done here is I have taken the active user column from the left table and divided that out by the total users column from the right table. I have multiplied this by 1.0 to ensure that it is a float division rather than an integer division. So now that we understand the query, let's try to run this in the StrataScratch SQL code editor and see if we get the expected result. So when we run this query, we do see that we have 0.5, which agrees with the output given by StrataScratch. So that's all for today. I would keep coming back with solutions to SQL problems from StrataScratch, so please stay tuned.